everyone. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk on Renal Cancer, sponsored by the Judy Nicholson Foundation. This podcast, we are so grateful for the support from Merck. And I am so thrilled today to have Claudia Tatum on the podcast. Welcome, Claudia.
Hey, thank you so much, Laura.
For those of you that are not familiar with Claudia, you are missing out. She is a fantastic board member of ours at the Judy Nicholson Kidney Cancer Foundation and a wonderful lady all in her own right. And Claudia, welcome to the podcast. Happy to have you today. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your story and what your connection to kidney cancer is?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a delight to be here. Yes, my journey began in January of 23. I was recommended to have a hysterectomy. And it's like, I had this little chronic cough, and it's, I don't want this hysterectomy. It's one of those edgy things. Do you need it or not? But I told my primary care, it's a hysterectomy. I should just go ahead and do it. But I want this little cough worked up. Chest x-ray, you got some small, tiny nodules in your lung base. So they recommend a CT scan, and the CT comes back, and I'm reading it on my phone. You know how we do. I don't mind. People question, should you look at it and wait or whatever? No, if it pops up in there, I'm taking a look at it. So I'm looking at my phone. Heart and lungs are good. Those nodules are stable since 2011, but there's a very large left renal mass consistent with RCC. And I'm going, what? Oh my gosh, most people won't even know what RCC is. So I was going into work at the cancer center that day, and it's like, God, y'all, I got kidney cancer. Holy moly. So then I started telling my friends and went up and talked to my dearest oncologist and got going with that. So that's how I kicked off that cancer adventure. But I've worked in oncology my whole life. I am retired from full-time work. I've had a strong family history of cancer, but I don't have any genetic predisposition that we know of right now. My testing was all clear. So, that's how it all started. And I was in ED under surveillance for 12 months. And on month 13, I was having some symptoms, and I had a recurrence. An abdominal recurrence, peritoneal carcinomatosis. Most people don't even know what that is either. It just means I got a whole bunch of stuff going on. The peritoneum is the lining of your abdomen. It's very vascular, very rich with lymphatics. Not exactly where you want your met to be, but do we get to pick and choose? No. So there you go. So then I started on an oral TKI and some immunotherapy, and I've been on that. It was a year in April.
Wow. I thank you for sharing that, Claudia. I can't imagine what that must have been like to go from, to your point, you've spent your whole career in oncology to now being a patient yourself. I know that most of us walk into cancer diagnosis with no formal medical training or background, myself included. Do you feel like that well, first of all, how did it feel to be on the other side of now being a patient versus?
You think you think you can empathize with people because you've done it so long, what the side effects are. You've seen your family, you've seen patients, but you don't really know until you walk in their shoes how it is. So I had all the same reactions everybody does. The shock, the anger. Really wasn't in denial. I've never said, why me? It's why not me? My gosh, it could be anyone. I've seen that my whole life too. It's a gut punch. It's a
Yeah.
gut punch.
What really was your biggest surprises or challenges that you faced early on in your diagnosis? And for those that aren't aware, you have a pretty rare subtype of
Yes.
kidney cancer. So I'm sure that complicated things, to say the least.
I knew we didn't have any kidney cancer support groups or any educational groups, and we don't even have an office for the American Cancer Society. I got online and found the Kidney Cancer Association, and you sign up to get the booklet that they send out, which I was thrilled about that because so many times when you ask for a download of anything, it's all electronic. But I got a hard copy of the book. So after I had my nephrectomy, and there was no doubt because it was a 12 centimeter mass, I really needed to get going with the nephrectomy. So that was a good thing too, that the surgical urologist comes to the cancer committee meetings and all that. And one of the nurses ran over and said, "Oh gosh, we've got a nurse here that's got a big kidney tumor and she can't get in to see you for several weeks." And he goes, "Oh, let me look." And he pulls out his phone and says, "What's she doing tomorrow at 11 o'clock?" And that day they called and asked me, "Are you free?" Or my friend called and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm at the imaging center getting my additional workup done right now. Yeah, I can be there tomorrow." So yeah, when I was asking about a biopsy, he goes, "You don't need a biopsy. We need to get this out. It's big. We need to get it out." Yeah, that's how we got going. But I didn't push anybody out of a time slot. I wanted to make sure, even though we're all family in the oncology world, that I wasn't pushing anybody out of a slot. People worked through lunch or stayed late or did whatever to get me in. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was still a shock. But where I was going with that hard copy of the booklet, well, after I had the nephrectomy and I'm recovering and I'm reading the book, good gosh, who knew that there was anything besides a clear cell renal cell? I didn't. And it was very interesting as I talked to my other medical professional friends, even the physicians, never even heard of the chromophobe. So we were all looking it up and trying to figure it out. So it's okay. If this was a chromophobe, that wouldn't be too bad. Only 5% of kidney cancers are chromophobe and only 10% metastasize, and here I am. God, I'm a chromie and I've metastasized. So I must be very special because all the unusual things have happened to me. But what can you say? That's it. Having access to that information and getting going quicker than a lot of people. Of course, our cancer system here in Tulsa that I go to, they're very good about, we don't want people to wait more than 2 weeks or less to get in and get things going.
Yeah, that I know that had to have been a relief, and because, like, I waited about a month in between my diagnosis and my surgery, and it was because I had to like, the care teams, the surgeons had to coordinate with each other, and it wasn't because they were, being lackadaisical about it, just it was a complicated surgery, and so they were trying to figure out everybody's schedules and me having additional scans and all to your point too, so I can relate, but that must have been a relief to have your
Yeah.
surgery relatively soon.
Yeah. I think it was 10 days. It was less than 2 weeks. And it still seemed like an eternity. Okay. Because you got a lot of time to think about a lot of things.
Absolutely. So, I know that you had opted for a second opinion with a GU oncologist or genitourinary oncologist after your surgery and diagnosis. And I know sometimes our patients don't always recognize the difference between a urologist, which is who did your surgery,
Right.
is our oncologist. Sounds like after your surgery, you consulted and got a second opinion with an oncologist at the Southwestern. And I just was wondering if you could maybe share what kind of led you to that decision to get a second diagnosis and how it shaped your treatment plan? Because this is a common topic that I feel like we talk about a lot in the kidney cancer community, especially in the rare forms, right? Is
So,
there opinion? Do I not? Do I rush to surgery? Do I not? And so, would you mind sharing a little bit about what led to that
oh,
decision?
yeah. I know what a valuable tool the NCCN guidelines are. So I'd already been looking at the guidelines and it was, yeah, this is a good plan. You need the surgery, but you don't want just anybody doing that surgery. You want somebody that's done a lot of them. How many is a lot? The surgeon, I was texting him and asking, how these have you done? And he goes, oh God, I do 185 to 100 a year, and 10% of those are high risk cases and all of that. So it's okay. I think he's qualified to do that. But meanwhile, at the same time, I was still talking to my friend, the retired general medical oncologist down in Dallas that hooked me up with Dr. Zhang. And he goes, yeah, this is a rare tumor. You need to come down here and see Dr. Zhang. And it's, yeah, I think he's right. Not to downplay any of the breast cancer or any of the other cancers, but when you've got something that you don't see every day, let's get all the information we can before we make a lot of big decisions. So I was very pleased. It's only a 4.5 hour drive down to Dallas. I don't even have to stay in a hotel because I have friends down there. But I didn't want to go down there and get treatment because I wanted to be at home with my peeps. So it's like,
I
we can give, you can give Keytruda anywhere. That
yeah.
wasn't that complicated. And the TKI is oral. So I don't think I need to sign up to go down there. But of course, my Dallas buddies, oh, yeah, your surgeon sounds great, but you need to come down here and let them do it here. Oh, have you had a post-op problem or whatever? I got phone numbers in my cell phone. It's, no, thank you. I don't think I need that just yet.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because, again, I feel like it's something that we talk about and debate a bit in our kidney cancer communities as to getting a second opinion and also being treated away from home versus near home. And I can relate because I didn't know my care team as well as you did, so I'm a little jealous. Although now I feel like I know them very well.
They're, yeah, they're in your phone
Right?
now.
They're in my phone now. I chose to do a clinical trial in my community. I was living in Las Vegas at the time, and I chose to do one that was being offered locally because I didn't want to travel across the country or even travel to a different state in order to receive treatment because my kids were pretty young at the time, and it didn't sound like how I wanted to spend
Mhm.
whatever time I had left. And so I'm glad that you talked about I think every patient has a different journey, figuratively and literally speaking. I think that sometimes we can be a little quick to dismiss having treatment done closer to home versus at a major academic institution.
Yes, and we do have another cancer center in town that does clinical trials. Should I have the opportunity to need and qualify for one, we could go over there and do that.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad that you have options, although I hope that you never need them again.
I hope not either. You never know. You never know.
I yeah. Speaking of, so I know that you've shared that you're currently on Keytruda and Lenvima, right? That's
Correct.
yeah, after having this kind of metastatic recurrence. And so how are you managing those physical and emotional side effects of being on treatment? And it's no walk in the park.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I think a lot of times I don't know, early on, I'm on the Q6 weeks schedule for the Keytruda. So I had done Keytruda for 6 weeks, nothing. Then I started the TKI, the Lenvima at 10 milligrams. The maximum dose is 20. And oh my gosh, that kind of threw me for a loop to say the least. I had all the fatigue, the muscle weakness, and it just happened overnight. I woke up one day and I couldn't get down the stairs. I had all this profound fatigue and every joint in my body hurt. Oh my gosh. So that was a big adjustment. So we stopped just for a little while. And then we started back and then escalated up to 20. 20 was still a challenge. And I had such a bad taste in my mouth with that higher dose. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. And Dr. Zhang had said, I don't think I'd do over 18. Okay. Okay. I'm just doing 18. And it doesn't sound like 2 milligrams as much, but it is. It's very significant. So now, and this has made a world of difference and how I feel. If I'm really feeling crummy, I just drop my dose down and I can take a break with my oncologist's permission. If I'm going out of town and I want to feel really good because I want to do some hiking, I can't do a lot of serious hiking like I was doing 2 years before I was diagnosed, but still get out there and put some miles on. So it's like, okay, I'm going to stop my dose and feel good and enjoy things. And that was a big turning point too, Laura, when I realized, gosh, when I stopped the treatment, I feel pretty good. So early on, you think when you're feeling so crummy, it's because you've got disease progression. Something else is going south. It's bad news. But it wasn't. I was feeling crummy because of that treatment. So it's okay. I can work with this. So now I have control. I got the packet of pills at my own house. So I can do whatever I want. And that sense of control has been a big help emotionally too.
Yeah, well, especially because
Bad.
that's good, especially because you feel that loss of control whenever you're diagnosed,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You to take control back feels really good.
Yeah, control what you can and everything else you have to let go. So, yeah, it's not been bad. I'm not crazy about it, of course not. If I can't do what I used to do, and I've had a little bit of hand foot, that's no fun when you can't walk. That's really a sad day too, but, I've got that managed now. Yeah, you can get through it, but and one of my dear friends that's one of the PAs, she said to me, she goes, "Claudia, it takes a little while, but you'll get used to that. A drug you're taking every day, you think maybe 2 weeks you'll get used to it." No, it was months before I got used to it. It's like, "Okay, okay." And I was the one that misled myself on that. Nobody put a timeline on it. I just did it myself. So it's, "Oh, yeah, no, it took more than 2 weeks." A good bit more than 2 weeks, but it's like, I've turned that corner, so we'll just see how it works, and I've been stable disease for 6 months, so it's working.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank
Stable
you.
is good. Stable is good.
Stable is good, stable is
Yeah.
good.
And I'm glad that you talked about working with your oncologist on dose modifications and dose
Mhm.
and all, because I know this is a common experience. I felt this whenever I first started on the TKI that I was on. I was like, I have to take the maximum dose. I have to take it every day. If I don't, I'm going to have the disease get out of control. But then I was on the highest dose and I was only able to tolerate that
Well,
for 4 months. And then I had to come down because I was too much. And I was nervous too. But my doctor said, look, Laura, like, it's more important for you to stay on treatment than it is to stay on a dose you can't tolerate, right? And then to your point, I got to the point after being on it for a year or so that I knew, and of course would get approval from my doctor, but like I knew, hey, I can not take it for a few days while I'm going out of town, maybe. Or if my hand foot is getting really bad, I can cut back for a couple of days and let my body reset. And I know it's common for patients to feel nervous about having those conversations with their oncologist because they're worried they're going to get taken off of treatment completely. But it really is a give and take, and to your point, your body does need a bit of time to get used to being on the treatment, and then I got to the point where I was like, "Okay, I'm able to do most of the things I was able to do before," and it didn't feel like it was that much of a burden to be on treatment.
yes, I get that too.
Yeah, no. I wanted to ask you mentioned a little bit about how finding those support mechanisms online, whether it was through the Kidney Cancer Association's guide that they have whenever you're first diagnosed or through other support groups online, that it really helped you with your diagnosis. And so, can I ask a little more about how those communities have impacted your experience as a kidney cancer patient?
So that's how I found Kidney Cancer Association. I found them and that other list of resources they have, and it was a little later on that I found Judy Nicholson. But we've known for a long time, this is nothing new, that patients in support groups do much better. So we've got those great online groups that if you're not taking advantage of that, you're really missing out on something too. And of course, I've had some therapists off and on, but I really got busy and found another therapist and see her not every week because pretty much I'm emotionally healthy. I've never had a life threatening illness, a chronic illness like this. So it just made good sense between utilizing the online support groups, networking with those people. And there's nothing like being around folks that are in the same boat or a very close, similar boat that you are too. And I don't know, I just feel so connected to all the new people, all the chromies, because there's not a lot of us there. And I see you doing so well, and Joel's doing so well. He's not a chromie, but still, Katie. Oh my gosh, nothing makes you feel better than seeing other people. So I'm so appreciative of you, what you and the others do that are speaking publicly and doing these educational podcasts. Otherwise, it's just too easy to go down that black hole.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And, that to your point is why, because I remember when I was just diagnosed that, and actually this past weekend, 9 years since I was diagnosed. So I'm
Yeah.
officially at 9-year mark
Well,
of,
and
yeah, which now I celebrate as opposed to some in the early years, it was like great, but also depressing. But now I'm like, hey, I'm at 9. I think that's why it's so important that we share our stories because I remember when I was first diagnosed that just hearing from people that were a few years out from me and where I was made me feel like I can do that too. I maybe I won't, but there's at least hope or a chance that I might. And I think that's something that's not quantifiable, but it's definitely something that is important. And I think that's why the peer groups are also so important because
oh
yeah,
gosh, yes.
hearing those experiences, to your point, you knew all about oncology, but not until your
Yeah. And all the patients
diagnosis.
I'd seen with renal cells, they were all clear cells and they were very advanced and they were not doing well because not in the not so near future, not so far back future, we didn't have what we've got now with all the targeted therapies and the immunotherapy. We didn't have that. So those people were not doing well. So that image was in my mind. It's, oh my gosh. And then I just look back and there's never a good time to get cancer, but boy, we've come a long way. We've
Yeah.
got options, Laura.
Yes, which is that's what keeps me going, and I know that's what keeps you going too. As a board member of Judy Nicholson Foundation, and I know that you're also a member of several other advocacy
Hmm.
organizations. Thank you. You do quite a lot yourself. What are some initiatives that are is happening right now that you're excited about, or maybe some resources that you feel like you really lean on whenever you're talking with other patients and caregivers? What gets you going right now?
I tell you, early on, I missed the first one, but that celebration of life dinner that Judy Nicholson has. Oh my gosh, are we getting ready to have the third one or the fourth one? I've only
I
been to
think
one.
yeah, I think it's the 4th, and it's in Virginia this year,
It's in
so
Virginia, so I went to New
yeah.
Orleans last year. Oh my gosh, that was a turning point too, to meet so many other people, and I think that's a tremendous thing that they do. Aside from the fabulous meal in a really cool city, the presentations, listening to other people's stories and listening to oncologists speak, it was life-changing. It was mentally changing. It was a very good positive thing. And they're always advocating, trying to raise some money because that's the whole thing. As you well know, the federal funding for research took a big hit, and that's not good for anyone, but especially when there's a lot of rare cancers that don't have anything going on right now. So hopefully that'll turn around.
Yeah, I
Hopefully. No.
do. No,
Anyway,
that
we
was
won't get into that, but
I know, but yeah, it was definitely a big blow, and to your point, especially for those of us with rare subtypes, so
yes.
but yeah, I still think there's a lot of hope to be had, and the researchers that are working on this are doing the best they can, even with limited resources, and I have a lot of faith in what they do, so
Yes, me too. And Judy Nicholson also has a lot of regional symposiums with high
right.
quality speakers. I know there's something coming up in Chicago. I'm helping work on something going on down in Tampa. What an opportunity to bring these speakers, into the community. I just think that's terrific too.
Yeah, I really agree. And again, I know that signups are still available and open for our Celebration of Life dinner coming up in August. And so I hope it will have a lot of attendees and more than we've had before because to your point, it's educational, but it's also just a great opportunity for fellowship, knowing that you're not alone in this and to your point, there's some patients that I talk to regularly that we don't know each other in real life, but I know more about them than probably their family.
Neighbors. Yeah.
Exactly. This is always a good opportunity to get together with our fellow patients and caregivers.
Yes, I'm super excited. I'm super excited.
So I wanted to ask, I know that you've mentioned before that giving back is really something that has made a difference in your own quality of life. And so Do you mind maybe sharing a moment where giving back truly maybe got you out of a dark spot or helped you with your own quality of life and your own kind of coping with your diagnosis?
Sure. Yeah. And that was early on too. It's okay. This really stinks. This whole thing. But what am I going to do? That making lemonade out of lemons. It's okay. Then I just have to get really involved. Whatever I need to do to set up some stuff in my community through my cancer centers, we all feel better, when you have that meaning and purpose in your life. So to be able to tell our stories and to get involved with the advocacy and the government stuff, it's like that is good for everyone. And I know I've certainly seen it myself. I do believe there's a plan. My faith is very strong in the Lord, and I do believe there is plan. So obviously, perhaps because I have a big mouth, I'm the one that should have gotten this, as opposed, and that does break my heart too when I see young people with families, and here I am, 70 years old. Good gosh, I've had a great life. I got no complaints. So whatever I can do, and because I have no husband or children, I have a lot more free time than most people. So I darn sure better be selfishly, because it does me good, trying to get out there and help other people have the same experience.
You do so much, and thank you for all that you do. And yeah, it is something that I feel like gives purpose to what we've been through and is a way to give back and to help honor the patients that helped us early on. So I love how you
Yes,
love how you
yes.
said, Claudia, what gives you hope today? What's the thing that keeps you going, even being on active treatment and dealing with where you're at this point in your cancer experience?
Number one, my faith. We don't walk alone. We've got him by your side. I've got him by my side. I hope other people have them by their sides. I know they do. Seeing the resilience of other people, hearing other people's stories like we've just been talking about, that gives me hope. I look at this, I've been given a gift. My gosh, we're all going to die. Why doesn't it just gives me the opportunity to live more intently. So being able to set goals that I want to go to Washington and do the kidney can days or whatever it is, being able to have goals and to be able to, okay, yeah, we're all going to die. We don't need to be dragging our feet around saying, oh, I wish I had found a better job or whatever it is. You get busy with all that and trying to make a good difference with that too. Just finding that joy. That's my goal every day, is to find that joy. And I can't say that this just started when I had this kidney cancer, because a lifetime in oncology. If I hadn't learned that lesson by now, shame on me, opportunity missed. But the little things that I'm trying to be more intentional about, or you see some friends and say, oh, we need to get together for coffee or whatever it is, and you never do it because everybody's so busy. But I'm going to work real hard, especially if it's people that I really enjoy being around. And I'm really focusing on being around the people that lift me up and that bring me joy, but just being outside, seeing this big, wonderful world. And that's where the support group has helped me a lot. Mark Manning, the Cabo guy, had just gotten back from, what was he, in 2 months or at least a month in Australia and New Zealand. And I've been a little reluctant to do any international traveling. I'm going to get busy and I'm doing a lot of stuff in the US, but I want to do another big international trip just because. Just because. But there's hope. In the research, there is a lot going on. New drugs in clinical trials right now. It's a good thing. Here I go. This doesn't sound good. A good time to have cancer because we're working on things. There's never a good time to have cancer, but all of that gives me hope. And I'm just going to maximize my time here and keep doing what I can with intention and getting all those warm when you're doing for other people, how good it makes you feel.
I love that. And you're so right because I often say that I look at time differently now than I did before.
Oh, yeah.
I don't take for granted anymore that, oh, we'll catch up for coffee and then we never
Mhm.
do. Oh, I'll do that next summer or next holiday or what have you. And so I think that's you can look at that as a curse or a negative, or you can look at it as a positive that, okay, now I have a different appreciation for life than I did before.
Yeah. That's that gift. That's that gift.
It is. Well,
Even though
I
we
hope
still
you
know our finite endpoint, not an idea. I don't know, but still, the most dangerous thing we do every day is get in that car. And look at
true.
you,
Yeah.
9 years. I'm just 2 years out.
Oh, it's passed faster than I thought it would. I know that your 9-year cancerversary will be here before we know it.
Gosh, I'll be 80 years old. Wow.
That's look, you've got a lot of places to go. We have a lot of international travel to do. So, where do you want to go? Where's your
Well,
dream? Oh,
one of my dear friends at my cancer center is a stage 4 ovarian cancer. And she had been 9 years out when she recurred about the time I was getting diagnosed. And she's from Australia. So she's getting some people together to go in September. So, oh my gosh, yeah, I gotta psych myself up for this. But that's where that support and that control that my oncologist has empowered me with. He goes, yeah, when you get ready to go somewhere, just call me. We'll get you in for a quick visit and get you tuned up, make sure you've got everything you need and get you going. He says, go and do. And that's what I want to do. Yeah, I want to. And Mark has inspired me for that too. So I canceled 2 international trips last year. So it's mentally, I was not there. I did have some fear over that. And plus, it's hard to get travel insurance too.
yeah, that is definitely challenging. But I'm glad that your oncologist is encouraging you to do that because I remember whenever I was diagnosed, sitting there in the hospital going, man, is this really it? And I thought, if I get better, I'm going to go travel internationally and do all those things, right? And I did, and I continue to do it. And so I hope that you get your trip. I've never been to Australia, but I'm dying to go. No pun intended. So I hope that I get to go.
I know you got to stay a long time, and that was it.
Yeah.
All the girls that are going, they're still working, so they have to hustle back. It's like I'm
Yeah.
not hustling back as long as far away as that is, and as expensive it is. Of course, it's just money, whatever. Easy to say because I'm retired and have good insurance. No, I think I'm gonna go just because I love going. I want to go
I love that. I
and
can't think
stay.
of
They can go. I'm fine by myself. It gets a little scary. Suppose I had an hypertensive crisis or hypotensive crisis or whatever it might be, but it's okay. It's
yeah.
okay.
I think just having those conversations, like you said, with your oncologist, having a emergency plan, so to speak, if you have to seek care somewhere else, and I feel like Australia is there's lots of cancer patients there, and I'm sure unless you're going to go to kind of the remote areas, I'm sure that your doctors can put together a good plan for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where you tap into the kidney cancer cure.
Yeah.
Dina knows everybody all over the
She,
country. So
she
it's like,
really
hey,
does.
give me a cancer center name. I've already Googled what's the #1 cancer center in Australia. It's like, hey,
I love that. I can't think of a better way to end this podcast today than on a note of planning travel and again, just proof that we can still continue to live our lives after cancer diagnosis and that we should, right? We don't go through all this to not have some fun and have some,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. We're going to live our life and we're going to find that joy every day, Laura.
I agree. I agree, Claudia. I can't say anything better. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today. And it's been a wonderful conversation and really appreciate you and all that you do for our community.
And exactly for you too. You've got a family and you're doing remarkable things. So keep up the good work. We'll both keep up the good work. That's what.
Yes. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for joining us on the podcast today. Again, I'm Laura Esfeller, your host of Real Talk on Renal Cancer, and we will see you next month. Thank you.